Hi, I'm Van Jones, and I am very, very honored to be a part of this incredible, important event. I want to first just say thank you to Reverend Smart, Pastor Smart, as we call them. He was a very, very young pastor in Jackson, Tennessee when I was growing up there, and he and my mom were good friends. And anytime he asked me to do anything, I have to say yes, because he was always there for me coming up and for my family. This interfaith prayer breakfast, I think, is a real opportunity for us to reflect on where we are right now. I was born in 1968, which is the year that Dr. King was killed. It's the year that also Bobby Kennedy was killed, and a bunch of young people were beaten almost to death at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. That was bloody. It was really a year that they tried to stomp out hope in America. And yet somehow 40 years after that, we elected the first Black president, President Barack Obama. And you look at all the things that have happened positively since then. I think feeling hopeless today is not wise. That said, we've got some difficult challenges we need to face up to. And I want to start off by expressing what I believe is true, not just in the United States, not just about Donald Trump, but what's true throughout the Western world. We have a trifecta of really tough challenges. We also have a trifecta of opportunities to push back. But let's just be honest. The flatlining of wages um, across the Western world, especially for working class folks, middle class folks, disproportionately white folks, has created a level of economic fear and anxiety among white working classes throughout the Western world. That's true in Hungary and in Poland and in Germany and in the UK and here in the United States. And that has created, I think, a real opportunity for some of the worst elements in our society to really capitalize and try to bring out the worst in people. Number two, we have this sort of audacious approach to diversity now. The Western world has always had non-white people present, but they were supposed to stay in their place. Uh, and we're not staying in our place. No place in the Western world, in Europe, the United States, Canada, are we staying in our place. In fact, we are insisting that we be treated as equals. And this idea of an insurgent diversity has also rattled some of the white voting population as they began to wonder when are they going to be in a minority position. And then lastly, you have a big disruption with regard to social media, where suddenly there is no arbiter. Uh, what's true is based on, what your algorithm tells you is true. Your social media feed, which is tailored over and over again just to reflect your own preferences. These devices that we use for information are actually not being used for information or delivering information. They're being used to deliver endorphins, feel good chemicals in your brain. And when you see something that validates your worldview, says, yeah, you're right, look at how bad the other people are, that gives you some endorphins in your brain, and people are getting hooked and addicted to the endorphins, and it has nothing to do with the truth or information. And so we have this massive trust and truth crisis happening at the same time. You've got a demographic challenge. At the same time, you've got an economic challenge. And that has created, you put those ingredients together, you shake them up, you get some of what you saw with this horrific insurrection against the Capitol. And all the other acts of violence that have not gotten the attention going way back. But while we've always had white supremacist violence, we've always had white supremacist terrorist organizations operating, never have they had the aid and encouragement of the president of the United States in the way that you've seen it with this president outgoing. And never have they had the audacity, at least not since the Civil War, to actually attack a symbol of American democracy in the way that they just did. And so we're at a crisis point, and we're having a series of breakdowns. But I always say breakdowns can lead to breakthroughs if you use them right. breakdowns can lead to breakthroughs if you use them right. There's a trifecta of positive things that we need to be trying to build upon as we find our way forward to a better set of outcomes. Number one, because of what happened this summer, because of the positive uprising this summer, there was a positive uprising after the brutal, horrific lynching murder of George Floyd. And that positive uprising was throughout the world, including throughout the Western world. And you saw by the polling data about 20 to 30 million white Americans change their mind. White Americans who had thought and who had said before that anti-Black racism was not that big a deal, who had said before that policing didn't really need to be reformed, in the course of a summer, changed their mind, and many of them put anti-Black racism high on their list, if not at the top of their list of what's wrong with America. And the need for police reform became a universally accepted idea. Well, let's just not forget, picking up 20 to 30 million white allies in one summer, even Dr. King didn't pull that off. There was no one summer where Dr. King picked up 20 to 30 million new Americans. And Dr. King was talking about the viciousness of police brutality at the March on Washington in 1963. So the idea that you could have such a big sea change on that issue gives you a sense that it's not a left-wing period, it's not a right-wing period, it's a turbulent and volatile period. But things can swing our way and have, and some of those people are still with us. So we have new allies. We also have new opportunities on the business side. When you have this much disruption because of the COVID crisis, because of the lockdowns, because of the way that our community has been hit first and worst by both the virus and the economic fallout, that also creates the opportunity. It opens the door for new business opportunities. The ecological crisis means that, you know, whether you're talking about solar panels, or whether you're talking about wind turbines, or whether you're talking about organic food, or whether you're talking about, you know, moving beyond meat, there's all kinds of different markets, opportunities, potential consumers available. And as we begin to quote unquote build back better, there is an opportunity under the Biden administration to fight for and ensure that we get the access to the Small Business Administration loans, the Treasury takes us seriously. Robert Smith has been talking about the importance of putting money into Black banks who are uniquely qualified to get capital into our community in a smart way. When you think about all these big corporations that we give our money to, why isn't McDonald's putting 2% of its corporate money into Black banks? Walmart, all of these massive corporations, rather than begging them for one-time grants that they can then, you know, turn down the next year, put your capital in a Black bank. It turns out Black banks do not have a lower default rate than white banks. They are particularly expert at finding Black entrepreneurs who are ready to expand or to open up a second barbershop or want to purchase their third car wash or whatever it is, and to helping those folks grow. And also, they are FDIC insured like everybody else. So there's literally zero risk to putting your capital in a Black bank. The bank goes under, you get your money back just like any other financial institution in America. But yet you're empowering people who can put capital to work in our community. So with this new administration, there's new opportunity and new need for economic renewal. And that should give us, even in our pain and our heartbreak, you know, love can rise from the ashes if we decide that we're going to build back better. And lastly, there's just a new generation that has taken the stage. You know, I was born in '68. I'm twice as old as some of the people who work with me at the Reform Alliance and at the Dream Corps. And, you know, these young people are serious about change, and they're not afraid, and they're not committed to anything in the past. Most of the stuff that we talk about, they don't want to hear about, because they see an unbelievable amount of injustice and they want it fixed tomorrow. And there are issues that they can make progress on, some of which actually wind up being bipartisan issues that even Republicans and Democrats can come together on. For instance, criminal justice reform, an issue that I've worked on for 25 years. It helped to pass almost 24 bipartisan criminal justice bills, even including during the Trump era, because there's something about having a big failed government bureaucracy locking up so many people, wasting so much taxpayer money, eating up so many liberties, that even Republicans and conservatives and right-wing libertarians will join with us and stand with us to do something about excessive incarceration. Um, Other issues like addiction, mental health, family leave, positive infrastructure, all of these are issues that strike at the heart of the concern of this rising generation, but also can cross the aisle and can become multiracial, multi-class, and transpartisan issues. And so, as easy as it is to feel hopeless in the face of all of this uncertainty and anxiety and disruption and antagonism and even treason, there are also reasons to be hopeful. And there are opportunities that we have to push forward new ideas or old ideas in new ways. And that really, I think, should be our focus as we reflect on Dr. King, as we reflect on his incredible leadership and legacy with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And as we begin to think about ways in Southern California to turn breakdowns into breakthroughs. Thank you very much.